let's slip into another Friday fix.
G'day, welcome back to the channel. I've been out riding the old DR a bit lately, and we've just ticked over 5,000 Ks, so I think now is a pretty good time to give it a service. So we'll drop the oil out of it, give it a quick going over, and it'll be ready to ride again next time. Righto, so in order to make this service happen, I've warmed him up a bit. It doesn't have to be blisteringly hot, we just want to get it warm enough so that it circulates the oil around a bit and makes it a bit easier to run out. We've got a pan to drain it into, 17mm, and then the drain plug right underneath here in the bottom of the crankcase. We're going to take that out. Make sure we don't lose the plug or the gasket. Out she comes. So this is the oil we're going to use. This is Penrite, Australian company. This is Australian made, this stuff. Just make sure it exceeds the, or meets the requirement for whatever bike you're putting it in. So in this case, the Suzuki spec, this exceeds it, so it's good to go. And just make sure that the oil you do choose to put in is suitable for a wet clutch. So motorbikes, and well, this motorbike anyway in particular uses the engine oil to cool the clutch. So you've got to make sure that the oil is suitable for a wet clutch application. Anyway, let's drain the rest of the oil out. I could set it up on the hydraulic stand I've got to do this, but I can't fit the stand and the big oil pan underneath at the same time, so we'll just hold him for a minute. It won't take long to drain the rest of it out. Righto, so that's just about finished draining out now. I've got him leaned over to this side and a little bit to the front because that's where the drain plug is. So we can move the drain pan, and we can go around and set up the bike lift. That should hold him up right now while we do the last little bit of the moving the oil filter. And I've nearly tipped my oil pan over. That would be a bad thing. So to change the oil filter in a DR650, it's in behind this cover here, so we need to undo these 3 bolts. I've got my pan underneath to catch any of the oil that drips out. So underneath this cover there's an O-ring that seals all this up, Then there's a spring that holds the filter in, and the filter itself. We want to make sure we don't lose the filter spring when we take this off. So there it is, there's the spring and the O-ring. So while I'm in here with the filter out, I just want to make sure that this O-ring in here is still in good nick. That one looks to be really good still. And then same with the oil filter cover O-ring. Just make sure that's still in good nick. I have got spares, but I'm going to reuse these ones today. This is the new filter. Looks to be pretty much exactly the same. It's a little bit wider. We just want to lube this O-ring up a little tiny bit. Line it back up and put the bolts back in. And then I'm just going to snug these up until they're firm. Here's the right end of the spanner. These are an 8mm. The plug in the bottom's a 17mm. And while I'm talking about the plug in the bottom, let's put it back in so I don't forget. Now I can actually see where the plug's got to go by looking in between the frame and the bottom of the motor. Give him a bit of a wipe. And I can let it back down, put it back on the side stand. Double check that I've got everything buttoned up correctly. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Well, 2,300 mils of oil. I think an oil change is 2.1. So 2.3 is actually for a brand spanking new engine. But we'll put it in until we see it on the sight glass anyway. Make sure our funnel's nice and clean. Now there's a couple of different ways we could do this. We could measure out 2.1 litres, put it in here, then lean the bike up, make sure it's in between the two lines on the sight glass, or we can just eyeball it. There's about 2 litres, will be half the bottle, and then we can start fine tuning it from there. Fill it up till it's in the sight glass. It's almost 2 litres of oil in there. So the manual now says to start the bike up for 1 minute and then check the level. So that is in the sight glass there at the moment. Let's start him up. Right folks, if we have a good look in there, you'll see it's right on the bottom of the 2 marks. There's a mark here in the side of the crankcase I can see, and a mark here. So it's got to be between those 2 levels. So I need to put a little bit more oil in. I made a mess on the driveway. I'm not going to need a huge amount, so I'm just going to add a little tiny bit at a time. I'm watching the level in the sight glass come up, and that'll probably do me, I think. Right, so that's it folks, we've topped up the oil again. I'm just going to go through now, give my chain a clean and a lube up, check all the rest of the oils, the brake fluid level, and that's about it. Check my air cleaner, make sure it's still clean. I haven't taken it off road very much, so I'm expecting that to be pretty clean. Yeah, we might even go and throw the I've got a B&B bash plate, B&B oil cooler guard to go on it. We might even go and grab that and we'll throw that on while we're at it before we bust the oil cooler. I've got this bolt too that goes in where the upper chain roller goes on these DRs. Everyone removes the upper chain guide because it rips a big chunk out of the frame if your chain does come up that far. It was too low from the factory, so I've got a bolt I'm going to put back in the hole just so it doesn't fill up with dirt and crap. I'm going to get some Loctite and an Allen key and I'll come back and put her in. But because these are a single cylinder, every bolt in them tends to vibrate loose. Every bolt you put in your DR650, throw some Loctite on it. So I'm just going to put a bit on. Let's see if I can make this one work. Mr. Suzuki didn't leave much room here for the average Australian bloke to get in. Probably didn't figure we'd be buying them in mass like we are though originally. Extremely versatile bike for the Australian conditions. You can ride them on the road, you can ride them off-road, you can tour on them. Pretty much whatever your heart fancies. Plenty of lube going everywhere. There we go. I'm just going to give him a quick start up one more time, double check the oil's in the right spot, clean up all this mess, and we're ready for our next ride. Thanks for watching.